I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 164. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. We are now part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there if you're looking for more gaming goodness. I'm your host, Dave Rattino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster, formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
So, before we get into things, Dan, it is May, all right? Which only means one thing. We have a brand new
birthday
content.
month.
It is your birthday month. That is right. That is right. Beyond it being Dan Robinson's birthday month, he is going to be the ripe old age of like 42.
22. I'll be 22.
Yeah, 22 like plus 22 plus 25 or whatever it is.
Get out of here.
Right age.
Get out of here. I'm not as old as you. Come on.
You're turning what, 37 this year?
I'll be 37 this year.
You'll be 37 this year. So
ripe old young age of 37.
It is more than that, Dan. It is more than just your birthday month. We have a new giveaway for our fans. We're giving away 2 poster prints, a double-sided Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee poster, and a Left Alive poster with artwork by famed artist Yoji Shinkawa, notable for his incredible Metal Gear illustrations. These posters are super nice, and we're definitely happy to give them out to a fan. Here's how you guys enter. Follow us on Instagram, like the post about the contest, comment, and tag one friend. Do that, and you are good to go. And we'll be announcing a winner in 2 weeks on the 21st. So, before we get started, this is the Avengers Spoilercast. We're doing things a little bit differently. This episode is going to be all about Avengers Endgame. If you haven't seen the movie yet, stop now, because we're going to get into it. We're going to get into everything about Endgame. All right? So, you have been warned.
All right. With that said, let's get into it. This movie was phenomenal. This movie was
great. It was great. It was a fitting ending to this chapter of the MCU.
This was this was the end of phase 3, right?
This is the end of phase 3, right? They've had, I guess every Avengers team up movie, right, signals the end of that phase, I think, right? The first Avengers movie was phase 1, and I think Age of Ultron was phase 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, actually.
And then now Infinity War and
Endgame sort of one, but they split into 2, right?
Yeah.
It was originally going to be part 1 and part 2, but they took those off and sort of made it its own ending, right? It could, like, Infinity War could have ended with Thanos. Spoilers if you haven't seen Infinity War. Snap, and everybody and half the population in the universe goes away, and that's it, right? And he just goes off into the farm, and it ends in a horrible way.
It could have, yeah. And then what happens? People got to rebuild, and that is kind of how Endgame kicks off, right? They basically pick up. The world is in ruins, right? Half of the universe is gone, right? Vaporized. Because, Thanos had all the Infinity Stones. So he could just snap his fingers and be like, poof, everyone's gone. Which is an incredible power, right?
Well, it's also, let's take it back a little bit, because I was a little confused at the start of the movie when I was like, I'm about to say Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel.
That's
like,
right.
If you
Captain
didn't
Marvel,
see,
yeah.
like you need to see Captain Marvel and wait to the end credits to really know how she even gets in, because they don't really introduce her to like all the other characters, right? She doesn't really get a
no, they really didn't even like get into it so much with her in Endgame. They're just like, she's just here, right? It's like, I have the answer.
Well, no, in Endgame, at the end of Endgame, Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury,
the end of Captain Marvel, you mean? Yeah.
Well, then in Captain Marvel, she just pops up and she's like, "Where's Fury?" Right.
Yep.
So we're left to sort of know that she's made the introduction. They've introduced, themselves to her and told her, "Hey, this is what happened."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of curious how they were gonna have Captain Marvel, because she's so powerful, right? She's like one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Like, what's her weakness? She needs a weakness, right? It's that Superman complex.
She
right?
didn't really have
so
a weakness.
Powerful.
That's kind of the problem, right?
But she did kind of at the end of Endgame, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But because Kevin Feige did say, he said, she's all powerful, but we explain why she's away and then how she comes in and sort of whatever her weakness is. And we did see some of that. I mean, it's not like she just kicked butt and then she snapped her fingers.
A little bit. I mean, I felt, and I think a lot of other people have also said this, like, kind of online media outlets and whatnot, that the kind of the power scale was like all over the place, right? Like everybody was either like tamped down or like amped up, right? We got a lot of Hawkeye, right? Hawkeye was like a useful member of the team, right?
So when Thanos snapped at the end of Endgame and Thanos snapped everybody away. In the beginning of Endgame, we see Hawkeye with his family, and he had the bracelet. I think he had like the bracelet on his ankle, right? So he was still on like sort of house arrest.
Is that what happened?
From Civil War. He was in house arrest from Civil War.
Is that what happened? Okay, I totally missed that. Because I was like, why is he not in Infinity War, right?
Because he was in house arrest. That's why he was. I mean, it was so
everybody else broke out, right?
Well, no. Captain America. I said Captain America. Captain America sort of got away. He broke out. Remember Ant-Man at Ant-Man and Wasp? He was on house arrest too, and he got the bracelet taken off.
He did, and then he went into the kind of the he went into the cryo sleep, I guess, or whatever, right? He was kind of stuck in that thing, and then he gets kind of jammed out of it, which I thought was kind of
that was at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, where where everyone got snapped away. But in the beginning, you see that he was on the whole thing was him on house arrest, turning into a sort of Ant-Man to go off on an adventure with having a giant ant with the ankle bracelet on. All right, well, spoilers if you haven't seen Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, it's same thing for Hawkeye. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah.
That's where he was.
Yeah. I didn't realize that little bit about Hawkeye, but it's it's kind of a neat way of explaining why those two guys weren't in Infinity War, right? They purposely kind of put them off on the side, and it was for Hawkeye, at least, it was to make Hawkeye like redeem himself and be a super useful character, right? Because he's probably one of the least powerful of the Avengers, right? Like, he doesn't have anything. He's just got really good accuracy. That's it, right?
The funny thing was, I was watching an old SNL skit about the Avengers, the first Avengers from like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was about all right, Captain America, I'm gonna do this. Iron Man, you do that. Hulk, you smash. Black Widow, you need to go steal something. So be stealthy and go in and steal something. Hawkeye, what are you gonna do? He's like, I ran out of arrows. I'm sorry.
I don't get anything.
I can't help you. I ran out of arrows. And then they get him an arrow, and then he hurt his hand. He's like, I hurt my hand. I can't shoot.
yeah. Like I really like Clint, and I really like Jeremy Renner, the actor who plays him, for sure. But it's hard to make him super useful, right? Because when everyone's like these giant hulking beasts, right? You know, like Iron Man, he can hold his own because he's got like nanotechnology, right? He got this amazing suit, and Thor's got the power of gods, and you know, Captain America is like an experiment by the U.S. government, so he's all
super
like
soldier.
beefed up.
He's
He's a super soldier, right? He's got the vibranium shield, which is like, as we know, like the strongest piece of
I'm sorry,
strongest element.
I'm sorry, I had to cut you off. I still can't get over calling it vibranium. It will always be animanium to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, did they change it? I thought it was always vibranium. No.
No, it was always they can't use that because that's now they can use it, but it was
because it was part of the X-Men, right?
Yeah, with Wolverine.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow, I actually didn't realize it was this. It was
animanium that was mined in Africa. Like it was that, but they couldn't use that terminology, so they had to switch it to vibranium. I'm not gonna lie, vibranium sounds better than animanium. Try to say that 10 times fast. However, but being an old school comic book head,
right?
90s.
Right.
I want to say old school because I have a colleague that's been in the comic book since the 70s. So a 90s comic book head and cartoon. I love the cartoons in the 90s. Animanium is just like I'm nostalgic for it. Like that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Sure. I get you. I'll be honest. I didn't read I don't really read the comics all so much. Not that I don't like any of the source material, but it's just a whole nother thing to get into. So like, I love the Marvel movies, right? Because I can go and spend like $15 every like couple of months, and I get to see like the new chapter, right? I think I've done a really good job up until this point, kind of making this universe come alive and having everything like interconnect with each other, you know.
But just getting back to Hawkeye, like everyone, I mean, we see him sort of like he sort of have like a darker tone, like in the trailers, and we were like, oh my god, is he really a Skrull? All right, that was left here.
Yeah,
like in the comics, he turned out to be like a secret agent, right? Skrull. So, but no, he is not Ronin.
They didn't go down that road. Yeah.
He lost his family and went crazy. He went out and killed. He started actually killing bad guys who were left.
Yeah. Because, didn't they like find him didn't they find him somewhere in Asia or whatever?
Tokyo. He was in
Tokyo. They're like Clint, we need you. And it's like, oh, get him back.
But he then never really got into why or how. But I would assume he's sort of just like, listen, my family was snapped away, but you guys are criminals. Like, why didn't any of you get snapped away? Right. So, and I guess to justify in his mind, it's like innocent people got snapped away, but these killers, these bad guys are still here.
Sure.
Rid the earth of them.
Well, Thanos, I don't think he gave any thought to who would go. He was just like, well, half the world's got to go because we got to save
random,
right?
Yeah, random.
Yeah, it's 100% random. You know, luck of the draw, 1 or 0, live or die. Right. So that's just kind of what it is. I guess, you know, Clint was trying to rationalize things and kind of make his way. And, you know, we see that with everybody. We see Captain America, I think, right? He was holding a support group up in Queens, I think, right? At like Met Stadium or whatever.
Well, you're jumping ahead a little bit. Like the movie really starts with like Iron Man just stranded in space with like he has like a little bit of air, a little bit of food. And he doesn't.
Yeah, and he's up there with Nebula, I think.
Yeah, he's there with Nebula, right. And you know they're stranded, and Captain Marvel finds them and brings them back to Earth. I still don't know. They never explain how she finds them. Right? I feel like that was a cutscene somewhere where back at home, back on Earth, they find a distress signal, and Captain Marvel says, "I'll go get them." Right? I think that was like a cutscene. Maybe it could have been a cutscene that they cut.
No, they had that
3 hours long. The movie's 3 hours long.
No, they had that in there. I thought she came down because like the end of Captain Marvel was her coming up to Black Widow or whatnot, right? And she's like, "Where's Fury?" Right? So she saw them, and then they said, "Oh, we have a distress signal out in the space. We found this," and she goes, "I'll get him."
No, there was that scene wasn't in the movie. You're thinking of it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's not in the movie, so that had to be.
It was in the trailer, but it wasn't in the movie. I'm pretty sure it was in the movie.
It was not. I'm 100% sure that's not in the movie because I was talking to the guy behind me, and we were like, "How did she find them?" Like that. It wasn't.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It was a long movie, Dad. It was a long movie. You got to forgive me. It was a very long movie. So I could have swore that they said that, right? They were trying to hatch a plan and all that. Thor was there, and
that was after she brought back Tony Stark and Nebula. And it was like
maybe. Okay.
We gotta hatch a plan. We gotta go after him, right? And that's when they get
that's when they go to get Thanos. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to say, like, I'm definitely gonna be seeing this movie a second time because there was just a lot going on.
We have to see the movie together.
Yeah.
We gotta go see the movie.
Yeah,
I saw it. I think I told you 2 episodes ago. I saw it in IMAX, and it was a great. I mean, I had a little wonky experience with the seating, but other than that, it was a great experience to see it in IMAX.
Yeah, what happens when you go last minute, but you made it happen.
I made it happen.
Yeah. So no. I think you're 100% right. There was something that was on the cutting room floor. So we don't know how Stark kind of came back, but we do know that, like, hey, they're all like, okay, we're gonna have to go after Thanos, right? And there was like kind of a lot of like, okay, here's what the world is like, right? It's real shit, and everyone's just trying to cope, and they're getting, I guess, like kind of the core team back together, right?
Well,
plus
they
Captain Marvel.
They get the core team plus Captain Marvel. She has all the confidence in the world. She's like, but you didn't have me. That's why you lost, right? And they go find Thanos just farming on this planet.
They find him and like cut his arm off, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. You're like, where's your
where are the
glove?
stones?
Like,
where are the stones?
Glove is gone.
No, the glove.
Right?
No, the glove was on him. The glove.
But the stones were gone.
Off.
That's right. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, his arm was all messed up because he snapped twice, and even Thanos couldn't even take the snap.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It takes a lot out of you, right?
Yeah, and it's so that's like the conceit. They're like, well, okay, we thought we'd just be able to get to Thanos because he has the stones, and we'll take the stones and we'll slip the glove on and try and reverse it with a kind of reverse snap, right? And then it's like, well, can't do that because I killed the stones, right? And then I guess like from there, right,
where everyone is in shock, right? Because they're like,
what do we do?
What do we do? We got Captain Marvel, and then Thor just comes down and chops his head off, right? And he's just like, I aimed for the head this time.
Right. So this is where Ant-Man comes in. They all get back to Earth. Like Ant-Man gets knocked out of his like cryo sleep or whatever somehow.
No. Yo, you are jumping ahead. You're cute.
What do you? Look, no, it's a 3-hour movie, Dan. It's a 3-hour movie.
They go back to Earth, and then it fast forwards 5 years.
Yeah.
This is where they get back to Earth, and they fast forward 5 years.
Oh, so that's the whole desolation of like Earth, and like here's what's going on.
That was the shocking part of the movie. I got to be honest. Like I wasn't expecting this to jump so far ahead, like in just time wise. Like 5 years later, half the population on Earth is gone.
Yeah,
Statue of Liberty. The statue around the Statue of Liberty is just boats.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
like a harbor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a real good way to be like, look, here's the gravity of the situation, right? Because it's this, everything's been leading to this moment from the beginning, from the instantiation of the MCU. It was all about the gauntlet and all about the stones, right? And we saw the stones throughout every couple of movies or whatever. We'd see glimpses of them here and there. The Collector had a stone, and Thor had one of the stones in like the first Thor movie, and they're all kind of little bits around. And Guardians of the Galaxy had a stone, like that was kind of an important point there. And it all kind of comes to this, right? So I like that they jumped ahead. I like that everyone was just like, look, this is how we're getting by right now, right?
This is life. We lost, and we have to live with it.
Right. And everyone's accepted their fate, and they're like, we're not giving up hope, but we don't know what to do. Yeah.
No, you're right.
They're
coping with it.
Yeah, exactly. They're all just like, look, this is what it is now. We're gonna be the Avengers, and we're gonna do what we can. And that's where we see Cap like having the support group and like talking to everybody, and And eventually we end up meeting up with Clint over in like Tokyo. He's trying to be like an Avenger for good, right? Taking out the bad guys. And
but Avengers never killed. Avengers never killed, and he started killing people. And then
and
don't forget about
Black Widow. You got a little unhinged.
But don't forget about Black Widow. She was sort of like taking charge and sort of because Clint was going rogue, right? And there's no Nick Fury, there's no government, at least there's no authority figure really managing people, right? And then you have Black Widow. She really took losing hard. Like she it really hit her hard, but she was sort of
running the joint.
She was running the show, right? She's like telling people, where are you going to go? Give me an update. And we need somebody over here. And Captain Marvel, I thought it was a nice way to get her out of the movie, sort of, right? Because she's like, listen, Earth has what's left of the Avengers, but there are no Avengers around the universe.
Right. The rest of the universe needs somebody, so she goes and does that.
Yeah. So I thought that was like a nice way to sort of write her out of the movie until we need her for a big battle, right? Because she's so powerful. Again, she's Superman in this instance.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. She's the MCU version of Superman. Yeah. I think that's really a good way to put it.
And then that's when Ant-Man sort of jumps out of this cryostasis time jump, right? And he has no idea what's going on,
right?
And just to fast forward, he finally makes it to Avengers HQ, and they explain to him what happened. Well, he knows what happens at this point because he saw his daughter, and she's 5 years older.
And he's like, what's going on?
That's when
he's kind of phased,
and he hasn't aged at all. Even though I gotta say, he looks if you look at a picture of him now and a picture of him like in the 90s when he did the Super Nintendo commercial, right? Back in the 90s.
That's right.
Yeah, he looks the same. The man doesn't age.
I know. He looks really good. He has definitely kept himself in very good condition.
Yeah. So
that's what happens when you don't do drugs and smoke cigarettes,
He's the one that comes up with this time travel theory, which I got to be honest. Once I heard, I was like, they're going a time travel route. I thought this would be a little hokey. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, because you get into some weird territory here.
Sure. I mean, it's it's never gonna be. No one's done it yet, so we don't have any like solid science behind it. It's all theory. And it's like, how do they build their theoretical time? Like, we can time travel because of X, right? And They did kind of poke fun at all the other time travel movies, right? Back to the Future and this and that. And they're like, no, it's like, that movie lied to us? Is like, yeah, sorry. It's not how it works.
I know. They went to Iron Man, and I think he took it the hardest, right? Like losing the hardest, because he's just like, listen,
Spider-Man was his like protege, right? He was like,
Spider-Man was his protege. It hit him hard. But he has a family. Him and Pepper had a baby.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And
it was good to see. It was good to see Gwyneth Paltrow back in that role.
One last time.
Yeah. Because there was definitely a couple movies where she wasn't in it, and they just kind of mentioned her in passing and whatnot. I'm like, does she not want to do the movies anymore? But definitely not true. They got her back, which was awesome.
Well, she was in Infinity War, like. She was in Infinity War. Just
she was. There was like one or two where they had to like write a scene about her just to kind of say why she wasn't there, for like whatever reason.
Oh,
right?
it was the Avengers movies.
Maybe,
Avengers,
yeah.
Yeah, she was in Avengers movies.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, when they first started talking about time travel, and in my mind, I'm like, why don't you just go back to the moment that, like, right before he snapped, right? And then the Avengers just come together and kill him. Which makes more sense, right? It kind of makes sense. Like, can you just do that? But Iron Man doesn't want to lose his little girl. He has a little girl. He's growing close to her, and he doesn't want that to change. He only agrees to help if they keep things the way they are and just wish people back. And I got to be honest, that was incredibly selfish of him. That was kind of incredibly selfish of him, but I can understand why.
A little bit. But I mean, it's tough. He's not just the old playboy from the first Iron Man, right? He's grown so much, right? But yeah. I mean, I do get you, right? It's like, do you want to save the life of one person, or do you want to save the whole entire universe, right? Because that's really what the stakes are. So, yeah. But
he's being incredibly selfish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a little bit. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to go throughout time and get the stones back, right? So like they basically form 3 teams, and they figure out like the 3 points in history where most of the stones are together, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, they end up going back to the first Avengers movie in 2012 because apparently there was 3 stones in New York, which who knew?
I know, but just real quick, the whole time travel thing, the way they say it is just a little weird. I got to be honest. It's you can't change your time because that already happened.
Right.
Why not? That's the whole point of going Back to the Future.
Well, I mean, it's like they're basically talking about alternate universes, right? So like every time you make a change, like here we're talking on the podcast, right? And you know, if we didn't record tonight, that would be another universe, and if we did record, that would be another universe, right? And I think that's like kind of the thing they're going off, right? So like whatever we do, will, you know, this timeline will still be this timeline, right?
That's the whole Dragon Ball Z mantra, like that.
Yeah.
Like in Dragon Ball Z, when Trunks, I don't know if you watched Dragon Ball Z back in the day, but when he comes back, he goes back in time to help Goku and tell him about the androids. His timeline is still destroyed.
Right.
He's just helping out someone else's timeline.
Right.
I think that's kind of weird. I don't know if I agreed with the, you know, that whole concept, the scenario, but whatever. Just, you know, but that's what they're going with. That's what they're working with here.
Right.
I would say before they formed the teams and went out, the biggest surprise, and I didn't know how they were going to do this, the Hulk and Bruce Banner are one. He successfully put the brains and the bronze together.
Oh yeah. That was like
Hulk.
that was a really good scene, because every other movie he was always struggling, you know, between the rage and, you know, the intelligence. All right. And he's like, look, I've just learned to embrace it. I can do both. I can be both. Right. I can be this hulking mass and also be super intelligent.
Well, now we got Talking Hulk, which we didn't know if we were gonna get. Right. I thought it was fascinating, because I thought the whole arc of, well, not the whole arc, but I thought sort of one of the pieces that would work in their favor in Endgame is, remember, the Hulk didn't want to come out in Infinity War because he got his butt handed to him by Thanos in the beginning.
Yep.
I thought at some point the Hulk would get like raging mad, or maybe some gamma rays hit Bruce or something. I don't know. And then he finally comes out unexpectedly and beats the crap out of people and beats the crap out of Thanos, right? And gets his revenge. And we didn't see any of that. That wasn't anywhere. I
think partially is because, again, and you know, I said it a little earlier, is like the power levels, right? They have to modulate everything accordingly so that, you know, you can have a battle that kind of makes sense, right? Because Hulk is probably one of the strongest people in all of the Avengers, right? Hulk is a beast. He's insanely powerful, and we've seen him like tear shit up in previous Avengers movies. And then in Infinity War, they like, maybe not so much Hulk, right? Because he could almost go toe to toe with Thanos.
Well, he tried.
He did. Yeah. Well, early on he did. But I mean, I think they kind of like, I think they did the right thing in Infinity War, and they tamped him down, and then they kind of brought him back in Endgame. I thought, like, pretty well. He's like, all right.
I don't know if I was ready in Endgame. I'm nitpicking because I thought it was a fantastic movie, and it's the culmination of 10 years worth of storytelling in 20 movies, right? So
I know, 22.
For Hulk, it wasn't just about Infinity War, him being, you know, sort of cowardly a little bit, right? Because that was the first time we saw sort of the Hulk that went and come out, and him being cowardly. It was the storytelling of, how does Bruce Banner, you know, juggle with the whole brain and brawn, right? And he combines the two. And we don't see a crazy, pissed off Hulk. We see Bruce Banner, mild-mannered, who he doesn't seem to get angry, but he didn't see him get really angry. When he was fighting calm, right? That's
well,
totally
he's learned to harness the power, right? He's learned to harness the power. Like he's grown over the 10 years, you know, back when he was little Ed Norton.
So I just think that's like awesome.
Yeah,
so that's cool. Listen, Ed Norton, eat your heart out. This could have been you. This could have been you.
Right? I know.
Right?
But I mean,
awesome.
I get where he was coming from. Ed Norton. I mean, he did do the Hulk movie, which I thought was pretty good, but he probably also took a look at like Daredevil and maybe Ghost Rider and some of the other movies that were kind of like terrible. And, you know, he probably saw like, oh, these could go real south. I want to make sure that the movie's good. And they're like, well, we have this vision and this is what we want to do. And he's like, well, then I'm not going to be on board. And they're like, all right, kicked him to the curb. So I kind of get it on both sides. You know, I get it on both sides. But
he wanted more control, and he was kind of a deeper.
Yeah.
From what I hear, from what they say, I don't know.
Right.
But this could have been him. I'm sorry.
Right. So when they end up getting like the they get the stones and all that, and they kind of like parse it out, they're like, all right, 3 teams, right? I thought it was like real cool when they went back. You know, they went back to the first Avengers movie, so it was like 2012 New York, fighting in like Midtown East, right over near like Grand Central, when like Loki was coming through and he was trying to get the Tesseract. Like that was like real awesome. They're like, all right, we got to get this stone here, and you know, they come back and then they're like, oh hey, look, that's me, I'm fighting, right? And they're like kind of.
Well, that was the Hulk, right? Because the first thing we saw was Hulk smash.
Yeah.
And then our new Hulk, he's like, oh yeah, like he can't even he can't even be mad.
Yeah. And then they they knew that I can't think of her name or his name in the movie, but the one from Doctor Strange, the one that Tilda Swinton played, right? She had one of the stones, and they had to go over to Doctor Strange's place and convince her. Or what would be Doctor Strange's place, right? And they had to go and convince her, like, hey, look, we need the stone. And they're like, why should we give you the stone? Like, it could just fall into bad hands and whatnot, right? You know, we're trying to preserve the balance of the universe, right? And, you know, eventually they get that one, and then there was one more.
The ancient one. It was the ancient. Her name was
the ancient one. That's right.
She was just the ancient one. Yeah,
that's right. And then there was the other timeline where they went back to, I guess, the 1970s, right? They were on like the military base.
Well, and then, that was only because Tony Stark tried to get the Tesseract. He had it, but then the Hulk smashed the door because he took the stairs. We see what happens after the events of the first Avengers, right? When, they beat Loki. They have the Tesseract. Now what happens? And it was, hey, the guards came and got Loki, and the Tesseract they gave it to the government, right? Yep. So, and the Hulk had to take the stairs. They made him take the stairs, and he couldn't take the elevator because he couldn't fit in an elevator. And then Loki got away, which, side note, which is maybe why Loki's not dead in this timeline, and he is getting his own TV show on Disney Plus. But, you know, that could be it, or a prequel, who knows? So that's why they missed the Tesseract, so they had to get the Tesseract. They wanted to go back into the 70s. To when it was just in a military base, probably Area 54. Who knows where
51? You mean? Yeah,
51. Yeah.
And then we got to see a very interesting interaction between Tony's dad and Tony, right? Because it was a young Howard Stark, which was like, oh, that's like really awesome. And then we get that little nod about Jarvis's butler. Right, that
was him. That was the voice. Yeah. That was the voice.
Yeah, so that was like super cool. It was like, oh, nice little nod. Like, you know, if you didn't see the other movies, you probably would have missed all that. But I thought that was kind of cool. They did a lot of really like little nods to the fans and whatnot, right? You know, for like 10 years of sticking with the MCU, and they're like, oh, you know, I really like that bit. I really like that bit. And then
you'll see he's Captain America sees Peggy and he feels a certain way, right? You see, like, for a minute he forgets about the mission and just looks at her through the window. Yeah. And that plays a role into the end of the movie. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Because he went to her funeral in, I think, Civil War, right? I think that's when
so,
Peggy Carter died. And that was like early on in the movie. It was like, oh, I gotta go kind of do something real quick, right? And he ends up going to the funeral, and everyone's shedding tears, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Wow. I would love to, as a side note, I would love to like just binge watch all the movies all over again. I mean,
right? You could have done that. They had a whole thing. I think they would have footed the bill for you too. I think they would have footed the bill. You'd have to watch all of the movies, and the only thing you had to do, I think, was tweet it and Facebook it and Instagram it and whatnot. You basically just had to like blast it out on social media, and they give you you just go and see all the movies back to back.
Well, I want to see, but I'm sure they're gonna have like a sort of a collector's edition.
Oh my god!
I don't know if this is fake or not. I saw online that they sort of had the Blu-ray with the collector's edition be, and it's like Thanos's. It's the glove, the gauntlet.
Oh, the glove. Yeah.
I
could see that. I could certainly see that, a deluxe special edition for
with all the movies. But it's with all the movies.
Oh, with all the movies. Oh, then it's gonna be like $300-$400. Yeah.
I would buy it.
Everything's gonna be remastered, and it'll be a whole thing. Yeah, no. It'd totally be cool. It'd totally be super cool.
Well, just to get back on track, we had that, and then Nebula. It was Nebula, War Machine, and Nebula and War Machine had to get together. And what I thought was a little weird is that the Nebula in the past was connected to the Nebula in the future that came back to the past, right? So
because plot and time travel and whatever,
Remember, she's half machine. She's half machine.
Sure.
So Thanos gets this. He sees everything that's going on. He gets the memories of Nebula, so he knows he dies. He knows he's won, right? And
well, they go, yeah, and they basically go back to the events of Guardians 1. Yeah, they go back to the events of Guardians 1, right? That's where Star-Lord, he's doing his little dance with the headphones on and whatnot, and going in to get one of the stones.
He finds the stones just in a temple.
Yeah,
Guardians 1.
So
they go back to get that
there, and then it's a big shootout, and that's how the first Guardians plays out, the opening scene, which is really cool and kind of interesting. So they basically go back to that point to intercept the stone at that point.
I was wondering how they were gonna, since they killed Thanos in the beginning, I was wondering how they're gonna bring him back. Mm-hmm. He's now sort of cocky, right? Like, and he's always confident before, but now he's cocky because he knows he's won, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, I've won. Like, don't you understand? Like, I succeed.
This is how it's going to play out. Yeah.
This is how it's going to play out. And they're trying to come back and stop me. What part I still don't understand is Hawkeye and Black Widow. They get the Soul Stone, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody has to die, which...
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened in the last movie. That's where
I know, but
Thanos threw Gamora off the ledge.
I know,
which is a sacrifice.
I know, but Iron Man knows this, right?
Yeah,
like, because that's why Peter Quill went crazy when they almost had the gauntlet off Thanos' hand.
Oh,
honestly,
my God, I know.
They should have just went back to that time and cut Thanos' hand off and chopped his head off, right? Like, that's the moment in time where they should have went back. But I digress. We already know why they don't do that. Mm-hmm. Iron Man knows this. He didn't tell anybody when they were coming up with this plan, like that. Hey, someone's has to die. Thanos killed his daughter to get the Soul Stone, so somebody has to die. Mm-hmm. I understood.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Well, they can't patch all the holes, but
yeah,
I understand why Hawkeye wants to die, because his family's gone, and if this doesn't work, his family is still gone.
Yeah.
So if this works, they come back. And I've sacrificed, right? Mm-hmm. I don't understand why Black Widow wants to die.
Well, I mean, I think it's like, hey, look, I want to sacrifice for the cause, right? I think kind of any one of the Avengers would, given that particular moment, say, look, this is what needs to happen. I will sacrifice myself for this, right? I would say Hulk, Falcon, Ant-Man, anybody. They're like, look, we are here at this point in time. Like, this has to happen, right? I'll make it happen. I don't know. I could be wrong. But like, because if they don't do that, then they don't get the stone, right?
Well, she said she got hit really hard, and like I said, like 5 years later they lost. She's really in a in a deep depression, sort of, right? But she's trying to bring it together because she's orchestrating everyone saving people around the world or whatever. I still don't understand why she killed herself. Now, what if there was somebody else? What if that was, I don't know, let's just say War Machine and Captain America, right? Like, do you think they would kill themselves?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
100%. Well, I mean, like, look. If it means saving the universe, then you kind of have to, right? You know, for the sake of the plot, you definitely have to. But
you know what? If it was me, I would have went back and got like a lamb, right, or something, and said, "I really love this lamb. I really love this lamb."
Yeah, they don't really specify who needs to die, right?
Well, it just
you can literally get a sacrificial lamb and kick it off the ledge and go, "Is that good enough?"
I really love this lamb. It was going to be dinner later. I'm not going to eat dinner. I'm going to have to eat
right. I am
else.
sacrificing this lamb, my delicious dinner, for the stone. Can I have the stone, please?
So spoilers.
I bet that would work too. Be like, boop. All right, we're good. We're good. We don't have to die. All right, fantastic.
So spoilers. She's gone. She's deceased. She has again.
Were you? No. Wait. Let's go ahead and take that back. Did you think she was going to die? Did you think she was going to be one of the people who were going to go? Because I sure didn't.
Yeah, I did. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It was too easy for Hawkeye to be the one.
Too easy for Hawkeye to be the one. Well, I mean, like, even before the movie started, I mean. Not just at that point in time.
No. Just that point in time.
Right. Yeah, because, I mean, you know it has to be one of those two people, right? You know, because they're the only two that are up there on that mountain. So it's like, and they keep fighting back and forth. But, yeah. I mean, I guess that kind of does make sense. Like, Clint's like, fuck it. It's got to be me. Let me go ahead and sacrifice. And then, Black Widow makes the jump. And that's it.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't gonna be him.
So she's like, easy. She's like gone, right? Like there's some permadeath in this movie, and she is gone.
No, they talk about it. Hulk talks about it later in the movie where she can't. The snap can't bring her back.
Right.
Don't know how he knows that.
What's done is done. Yeah.
However, I will say this: they have greenlit a Black Widow movie.
Right, so it's gonna have to be a prequel.
To be a prequel. It's gonna have to be a prequel.
Either that, or they retcon the whole situation. They find all the stones again, and they snap and bring her back. Like who knows? There's a lot of magic going around the MCU, so anything is possible. But
I would love to see her how she sort of started. Right, it would have to be maybe the end of Captain Marvel, and we still get a young Nick Fury, right? And how he met Natasha. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be kind of cool to see. Yeah. I didn't understand this one. Why she wanted to kill herself. I didn't understand why Iron Man didn't tell them this is how you get the Soul Stone. This is how he knows Thanos got the Soul Stone. He killed Gamora, his daughter, right, that he loves so much. But okay, you drifted off in space. You lost. Maybe it slipped your mind. 5 years later, maybe you forgot.
Yeah, It's a 3-hour movie. They can only put so much in there.
All right, so they get all the stones. They come back to present day, and they don't have a gauntlet made by who are the guys who made the gauntlet? They were the giants, and then he killed everybody. Thanos killed everybody after they made the gauntlet. I forgot their name.
Yeah, same. Yeah. But I know the ones you're talking about. They referenced them in Infinity War, I think, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how Thor got a new hammer.
Right.
Remember? Like he did he had to open the star, and the energy from the star came down, and they built a new hammer for him.
Yeah.
Tony just used his metal hand, right? The mechanical hand.
Yeah. I mean,
they didn't have a gauntlet, so they kind of cheated.
I mean, they basically scienced the thing together, and they're like, all right, yeah, this will work. It's fine. This will work. And so they snap, and everyone comes back, right? That's their one wish.
The one wish is they snap. Hulk does it because he says it's made out of gamma rays, and
so he's like, I'm all gamma rays.
Monster.
Yeah,
he's a gamma monster. However, his whole right arm is all burnt. Like it burnt up his whole right arm. So he's
Yep.
already injured. He's behind
Yep.
the 8 ball. And then right after that, Nebula, who is not the Nebula of the past, I mean the future, is the old Nebula, as sort of like a spy for Thanos. He sends her.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have that many pin particles, right? From Ant-Man. That's how they travel through time.
Yep.
I'm assuming because it's space, right? Thanos has better, he has advanced technology that they made more pin particles, because that was never explained. Because remember, before they did this, before they went back in time to get the Infinity Stones, they didn't have enough pin particles for everyone to do multiple trips. It was, we got 2 test trips and this is it. We can go and come back. That's it.
one of those they messed up in a funny scene, right?
Oh yeah.
He ends up using the whoops,
Like,
and he comes back. He's like, "Well, okay, now we have 2 chances to go."
Yeah. So I'm just gonna assume, I'm gonna chalk it up as Thanos has advanced technology so they can make more pin particles. What I don't understand is how he got the whole ship to go back in the past.
Yeah, it's plot, movie magic. It's kind of just what it is.
And the ship goes through the ceiling, grows big, and just hovers over the Avengers Tower in the future.
Yep.
So past Thanos is now alive in the future. How does no one notice? I guess because they have the Infinity Gauntlet and they're just like so consumed with that no one noticed that there's a spaceship hovering over Avengers Tower. And why did Thanos wait for them to snap? Or I guess maybe he just didn't know, but it was just so
probably he's probably just kind of like recalibrating himself. Okay, I'm here now. Where are these guys at? And
then he just throws missiles and destroys Avengers Tower.
Yep.
And everyone survived. Magically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to Thanos versus Thor, who, by the way, we skipped somewhat. We skipped sort of Thor's what happened to Thor after the 5 years.
Oh, that was that was my favorite part of the movie.
He got hit hard, and he just is a little overweight, a little chubby.
Yeah, so he was hanging out.
He was
hanging out in like Northern Europe in a small little town.
Asgard, which is
New Asgard, right? Way up, kind of north. They go and visit him. They're like, "Look, buddy, we gotta get this thing moving." And he's got a real dad bod going on. He's hanging out with the guys from Ragnarok, right? Nick and the other guy, the big dude, and they're like sitting there playing Fortnite and drinking beer, and I'm like, this is really funny. And the whole there is no Thor montage of him getting back into shape. It's just Thor being Thor.
He doesn't.
Like, fat.
He doesn't get back into shape at all. It doesn't get back into shape at all.
Nope. And he still kicks butt. He still kicks butt.
He had him and Rocket had to go back in time to the second Thor movie, because remember his girlfriend had because that rock isn't really a rock, it's like gas or something, right? And it was inside of her. What's it called? I forgot the name of it. Well, what was her name? Because she wasn't in this movie. She should have been.
Well, that was Natalie Portman's character, which they had like a brief
picture
little,
of her.
Yeah, had a brief little picture of her and whatnot.
And he said, she didn't break up with me. I broke up with her.
Exactly. Well, she didn't want to be in the movies anymore. Like that's why she wasn't around.
Well, she had a dispute with Marvel over.
Yeah.
She thought a certain director was going to direct the second movie, and they switched directors. She didn't like that, but she was already contractually obligated to do it. So.
Yeah. I think there was a female director, and they swapped it out last minute. And she's like, "You can't do that." And sure, so there was a lot of politics behind the scenes.
But they did reference it. Her picture was in it.
Yeah. Which I thought was nice.
When they had to sort of get the stone out of her, right? I like how they played it when they didn't actually show her. They just showed sort of like the back of her head, and it was like, I can't do it. I look like I'm a slob. I look like a mess.
Yeah.
I got to see my mother. I got to see when she dies. I got to see my mother. And Rocket goes and gets it, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. But And he gets the hammer back, which is kind of a dick move to steal the hammer. He has 2 hammers now because he steals the hammer
from
himself in the past, just to see if he's worthy. He wants to know if he's still worthy.
Right. See, but that was like a really cool thing because we're basically culminating on the final big set piece battle, which was amazing. He's able to pass on the Mjolnir to Cap. He gives it to Cap. He doesn't. Well, no, he doesn't give it to Cap. It's the sort of what we think, or what I thought at first was the final showdown of Thanos against Thor, who has 2 hammers, Captain America, and Iron Man. They're like, all right, well, let's actually kill him this time. Let's get it done. How is he here? I don't know how he's here. All right. Everyone's confused at how he got here. And he was like, all right, well, let's kill him this time. And he gives them a beating. And Thor is on the ropes. And the moment that it was a standing ovation in a movie theater when the hammer just hits Thanos. And we're like, who threw it? And it's Captain America. And now he has the power of... Right? He is worthy of the hammer.
He's worthy of the hammer,
which is awesome.
I'm just a little confused. Here's some nitpicking, plot holes, comic book nerd. Thor, remember in Ragnarok, his father told him, "Listen, your power, the thunder power, doesn't come from your hammer. It comes from you. You're the god of thunder.
Come from within. Yeah.
So how is Captain America summoning thunder? he was summoning thunder.
I mean, sure.
I can understand the hammer. Listen, I can understand the hammer and flying and wielding it. I just don't understand the thunder part. I'm sorry, little nitpicks.
Yeah, no. I actually I didn't even remember that bit. So that's Yeah.
Remember, because at the end of Ragnarok, he didn't have a weapon. He was the weapon. He had.
That's
thunder.
right.
So I'm a little. I know I'm nitpicking. I'm just saying. I understand it's a movie.
That's what this episode's all about, Dan. Right? It's about our opinions about the Avengers movie.
But it was still fantastic. I only realized that sort of after the fact. Now that I think about it, not during the movie. Because
you're so wrapped up in the action scenes, right?
Because remember, he came close to picking up the hammer in Avengers 2. Right? He sort of
Age of Ultron.
Pulled it a little, right. And then Thor was kind of like, oh my God.
Because they had that. He was
a little nervous.
Yeah. They had like that whole party, and like everyone was like, test of strength. Let's see if we can do it, right? And the Hulk tries to do it. And it was great because then you just have Vision just like picks it up and like Thor's like, what? Which I still don't know why Vision can pick it up.
He's worthy.
That's weird.
Because he's worthy, that's why.
Is he? I don't think that's it.
He's not alive.
I don't think that's it. No, he's not. He's not alive anymore. I don't think that's the reason.
Only the worthy one can pick it up.
I don't. Maybe, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole idea behind it. But I thought there was another reason why Vision could pick it up. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Ultimately, they lose. Thanos kicks their butt, even with Cap having his shield and having the hammer. And he just unloads his whole army. He tells his whole army to come out, and he says, I this wasn't personal before when I beat you guys in the future, but now I'm going to take great pleasure in killing you.
Now it's personal. Yeah.
Now it's personal.
I'm coming at you.
And all of it, and then you have the whole army, and it's like, well, what are they going to do now? And I got to be honest, I totally forgot they snapped everybody back. Right?
Yeah. So then we get Star-Lord back. We get Gamora back. We got Spider-Man back. Like everyone was like cheering when he came into play, and Doctor Strange brought everybody back, and you hear Spider-Man saying, Doctor Strange says it's been 5 years and we got to fight. Come on. So to them, it's been 5 years, and then we see Black Panther, we see all of Wakanda. Yep.
Everyone just comes through all these portals that Doctor Strange is making, and he's like, "Is that everybody?"
They even had Pepper Potts in one of the Iron Man suits.
She was in the female Iron Man suit.
Yeah, which I thought that was awesome.
And it was like, "Is that everybody?" And And the guy was like, I mean, "Do you want more?" I was hoping for the X-Men. I was hoping we'll get an X-Men sighting or something.
Oh, no,
different.
They had it all. They had it all planned out already. It'd be hard to get him in there if they didn't have him in Infinity War, in like some sort of like cameo in like some way shape. Yeah.
But it was cool to see the big battle, right? This is the huge battle. All the good guys versus all the bad guys. You got to have the Wakanda, because the Wakanda army sort of gives you like vast amounts of numbers on the good side, right? So, but I thought it was awesome. And then Captain Marvel came out and destroyed the spaceship, right?
Yeah.
To prove how powerful she is.
Right? She ripped right through the spaceship. Like, I was like, okay.
And then,
where were you? It's like she was obviously off, like, saving the rest of the universe. And
she has a new hairdo, too.
I know.
She's kind of like white. Like white. She looks like Storm a little bit. And then there was this one part where everyone clapped for this, too. This was awesome. Because she took everyone's trying to get the gauntlet away from Thanos. And she grabs the gauntlet because Spider-Man had it. He lost it. And then Captain Marvel took it up. And then you see all the bad guys sort of converge on her. And Spider-Man's like, how are you going to handle them? And then all the women came together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, kid, we got her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was a really awesome scene, right? I was about that. Because for the last 10 years or whatever, the female superheroes never had their own movie. They've always been shafted. They were always like second tier. They always had to be like with Iron Man or with like Hulk or somebody else, and they're like, no. We realize, we messed up, and they're like,
but they've done a great job in the last few years. I mean, if you look at
it's gotten a lot better, yeah.
Look at Pepper Potts in Iron Man 3. She's the one that actually kills the bad guy because she has superpowers, which they never address. Which they never address because she is in an Iron Man suit, but she has superpowers. She can get really hot and throw a flame, I'm assuming. So don't know that they sort of skipped that part. I would have liked to see her at least in the Iron Man suit throwing flames or fireballs or something of that nature. I don't know if they explained that they cured her. Maybe he cured her. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
And they had the Wakanda woman, right? They're the secret guard to the Black Panther, right? To the king. So they are second tier to no one, right? So they have that. And you have the Captain Marvel movie. So they've done a great job in recent movies of bringing women to the forefront. And we got 100%, long overdue. And maybe this just didn't fit because it was always going to be a prequel. Long overdue. Black Widow's getting her own movie too.
Right? Yeah. That was like speaking about SNL. They had a skit a couple years ago about Marvel doing a Black Widow movie, and the way they did it as a romantic comedy. Because it's like, right? Because like, she can't hold her own movie. She can't be a Marvel superhero who fights evil. It's like, no, it's got to make it a romantic comedy.
Well, everyone has something different, right? Because you have like the big fantasy set pieces, in certain movies, and like Doctor Strange, you get sort of the mystical elements of that, right? And then you have obviously you have the big action movies. I would have loved to see sort of like an espionage movie with Black Widow. Right?
She would be the one to do that, right? Her or like her or Hawkeye, I think.
Like Salt. Remember that Salt with Angelina Jolie? That would be her.
Just good. Salt, but good.
Salt, but good. Okay, Pepper.
There you go, Pepper. Yeah.
Just make Pepper. And Pepper Potts can come in and help out.
There you go.
They knew each other all along. So we so Thanos. Oh, so this is the part where we get Captain Marvel's weakness, sort of. Thanos gets a hold of the gauntlet. She grabs his arm, and she's pulling him away. He punches her. She looks at him and she flinches like, that did nothing for me. He takes one of the stones, powers up his right hand, and punches her. He punches her straight through, like, I don't know, a machine or to another galaxy. I don't know. He punched her so hard, she went flying.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So she does have a weakness. It may be the power of one of the Infinity Stones.
Mm-hmm.
But it would take and whatever Captain Marvel 2, they need to, again, it's that Superman problem. She's so powerful. I would say maybe her power sort of needs to regenerate. Maybe that could be sort of her weakness, right? Because remember now, if you watched at the end of Captain Marvel, she went full blast, right? This is the full extent of my power because you've been holding me back. So maybe that could be her weakness, unlike Superman, because Superman sort of actually Superman does have, other than kryptonite, he needs the rays from the sun.
He needs the power of the sun, yeah. Otherwise he's basically nothing, right? So if the sun
so,
goes away, like it's like
so maybe Captain Marvel sort of can, when she goes full blast, she needs to regenerate.
I mean, there has to be something, right? There has to be some sort of character flaw or some sort of physical material or whatever, that's like, okay, this is my weakness, right? This is what can defeat me. I have to find a way to overcome that, right?
So after he punches her away, he does what all bad guys do. He talks about how he's going to kill everybody.
Yep.
And then Iron Man jumps in, tries to snatch it, gets punched away. Thanos snaps, just like the switch. And nothing happens. And he looks, the stones are gone. People forget, or he forgot, that the Infinity Gauntlet, the glove, is part of Tony Stark's armor. So it was safe to say he got all the stones transferred from the sort of the glove into Tony Stark's hand.
Had his little nano machines, little kind of robots pulling all that off.
Which theoretically, if only the gauntlet can hold the stones. Now that Tony Stark has nanotechnology, could be from Wakanda, right? Maybe he had some connection with Wakanda.
Sure.
And it's made out of vibranium.
Sure.
Possibly, which could hold the stones. I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry. I'm nitpicking. I'm just little nitpicks, little details.
You would assume it's made of material that's able to hold it, right? Because the gauntlet's not just a regular gauntlet. It is powered. It gets its power from the stones, but it also needs to like stick together, right? It can't just be made of like straight up steel, right? And that's just gonna like disintegrate whenever you try and do anything with it. So,
and I like the
that
way
would make sense. That would make sense having it made of vibranium, sure,
or animanium, whatever. I just like the way they sort of introduced that snapping with like when the Hulk brought everybody back. Even someone who has the gamma rays in him, he couldn't really survive. Like it took his whole arm and burned it, right? So he's injured. He's even fighting injured. He had his arm in his sling when they did the panorama shot of all the guys before they started the big battle. Yeah, you see Hulk in the sling. So Tony Stark has it, and he says, "I am Iron Man," and he snaps, and all the bad guys go away.
Yep.
And unexpectedly, everyone thought Captain America was going to die in this movie by doing the snap. Unfortunately, we started the MCU with Iron Man, and we're going to end the Avengers Infinity Wars essentially with Iron Man dying.
Yeah. That was I
the
teared up, man.
I teared up too. That was the
no. Well, I didn't know it was going to go down that way, but I knew one of those two guys were going to die, right? Partially because their contracts were up. They're like, look, I don't want to do these movies anymore. I'm getting kind of old. I want to do something else. And I'm like, oh well, one of those two guys, if not both of them, are going to go. Right?
Well, Robert Downey Jr. said he didn't want to do like indie movie that no one was going to see. Right, he's a big movie star now because of Marvel.
Sure,
so he wanted to do big. He wanted to do big movies. I don't know if he's changed some of his comments since then, because that was sort of his comments since the second Avengers.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, when you're making like 5, 6, 10 million plus per movie, it's like
I think he's getting residuals. He's getting a lot more than that.
Or whatever it is. I mean, he's making bank right now. So, but I mean, like I wasn't surprised by that, but I still cried. Right,
I teared up.
Right, because everybody gets wiped out. Right, I guess that's pretty much the end of the battle. Right, Iron Man makes his sacrifice. He goes, "Look, I got this." Snaps the fingers. Everybody dies, and then everyone's there for like the funeral. It's
it's a callback from the original Iron Man. At the end of it, I am Iron Man, right? And then he says, "I am Iron Man," and he snaps. So it's sort of bringing everything together full circle.
Yeah.
Everyone, it does cut from a tear, a really, really emotional scene with Spider-Man saying, like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay, and then Pepper coming in, asking Jarvis for a status update, and it's like critical condition, and and then she tells him he can finally rest, right?
Yeah.
He can rest, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it cuts to the funeral where sort of everyone in the MCU, right, is at the funeral. No one's mentioned this. No one's talked about this. And I have to see the movie again.
Yeah.
But if you look towards the back, before the right by the cabin, standing in front of the cabin, right next to Captain Marvel, they have the actors from the original Hulk movie, the good one with Ed Norton, not the other Hulk movie.
Oh yeah, I do remember someone mentioning that. Yeah.
So they didn't use any of those. They didn't use anybody from that movie. They didn't use his love interest or the father, who's the general, the Abomination, the enemy. And if Ed Norton would have stuck with the MCU, we probably would have had another Hulk movie, right? Easily. Ragnarok. He probably wouldn't have been in Ragnarok. We probably would have had another Hulk movie with those characters, with some tie-in to the other MCU movies. But since they parted ways with him, we haven't. They didn't use anybody from that movie,
right?
Except for the general.
For those two guys, and you would have totally missed it.
You would have totally missed it, because it was in the background. They had him in the background. They weren't in the forefront.
Yeah. They didn't have any lines or anything. They were just kind of there. But I was like, oh shit!
And the kid that was in Iron Man 3. That's right.
He
was all grown up. They used a real kid too.
Yeah,
the real actor.
Yeah, people were. That was funny. People were speculating online that that's like a young Spider-Man, right? It wasn't a young Spider-Man because he meets him for the first time later in the first Spider-Man movie, right? Homecoming, right? Homecoming. Yeah, and that's how they kind of get introduced. Oh, wait, no. They get introduced in Civil War. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ends up going to his place and giving him the suit.
And he's in Homecoming.
He is in Homecoming too, yeah. So that was like their first introductions and whatnot. But yeah, tons of like nice little nods. You gotta be on the lookout for him. I bet even if when we see the movie again, we're gonna pick up on some other stuff too and be like, oh, it's that thing,
But the movie didn't end. Because now there was
a couple more scenes. Yeah,
they had to return the stones
to
each individual timeline, so it doesn't branch off. Yep. Like they don't branch off into something crazy. Right? You don't want to really disturb the timeline.
Right.
And Captain America takes the hammer and takes the stones, and he has to go back into each individual timeline.
Yep.
And put the stones back. So he has to go back into the 70s to put the stone back. He has to go back to the Avengers 1, right? They have to keep going back. They don't show that part because that's another movie in itself.
Yep.
Right. And I'm assuming he has to return the hammer to Thor.
Right. Yeah. So he probably goes to Asgard for a minute and whatnot. But
then he was supposed to come back. He misses the jump. Right. And everyone's like, what happened to him? Comes to find out he's an old man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like, wait, I got all the time in the world right now. I want to go spend it with Agent Carter, Well,
remember
that was super touching.
That was super touching. But remember, before he went back to take the stones back, he had told Bucky. No, Bucky had told him, "Don't do anything crazy I wouldn't do," or something along the lines. I forgot the exact words. Which is what he told Bucky in the first Captain America movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's all full circle. Bring everything full circle. So I'm assuming he married Agent Carter because he has.
Oh yeah, no,
wedding ring. And he goes back because remember in the first Avengers movie he says, save that dance for me, right? And he goes back and it's a cut to them dancing to that song.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of questions. He's obviously he's really old. He's a super soldier, but he can age. Remember, he was stuck in ice that slowed down his aging or stopped his aging for like 70 years or whatever.
Yep.
So he's a really old man. And in a touching moment, he gives the shield to
Falcon. Yeah.
To Falcon, because Falcon, in the comics, Falcon and Bucky take up the mantle of.
They do, yeah.
Both of them.
So it's that was really cool. That's a way to continue the character without having the same actor play him, right? It's like, look, I'm old, whatever, and I'm going to go ahead and pass the mantle on. You have earned the right to have this shield, right? And Falcon's like, oh my God, like, yes, I will uphold the duty of, I will take the mantle of Captain America, and then it allows them to get Chris Evans out of that role, right? He doesn't want to do it anymore. So it's like, well, we can still have Cap in that same universe. He's technically not dead. So he could make a cameo appearance somewhere like later on down the line.
As an old guy.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'd be able to like down age him or whatnot, but he could at least make a cameo appearance.
He looks super like they did a super good job making him old. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Like they did a super good job of making Sam Jackson look young. They did a good job of making Cap look old. Mm-hmm. But this makes this throws like a different dynamic into the Bucky and Falcon series that's going to be on Disney Plus.
Right, right. That's going to be a new thing, which is going to be awesome, I think.
He's going to be Captain America. Mm-hmm. How is he going to be Captain America? I don't know, because he doesn't have the super serum to make him into a super soldier. So Captain America now is flying. I don't understand. But we'll see what take they have on it.
He has the shield made of vibranium, or adamantium, as you would say.
Thank you.
I think they'll make it work. Like Falcon's pretty adept. He's got technology on his side, I guess, but now he's got the shield on top of that. So
the movie ends. And Gamora, by the way. The old Gamora is in the future, so she doesn't know Chris Evans. Not Chris Evans. She doesn't know Quinn, Peter Quill, right? Mm-hmm. Star-Lord. They're in the middle of the battle. He's like, "Oh my God, you're alive!" And she kicks him between the nuts, and it's like, "I don't know you," because she doesn't know him.
Who are you?
But she doesn't get snapped away, right? She doesn't get snapped away, and at the end, you see the Guardians of the Galaxy get in a ship with Thor. Because Thor gave up his right to be king of New Asgard.
Yep.
And they're set to go on a new adventure, which I'm assuming Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is sort of find Gamora.
It's the Asgardians of the Galaxy, right?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I honestly think that's what they're going to call it.
That's what he's going to be. Thor will be in. It's safe to say Thor will be in that movie, which is how they can sort of continue the Thor sort of character without having another Thor movie. So I kind of like that dynamic for the next. Now I'm really looking forward to the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah. I think it's going to be real cool. I like Thor's arc, especially from like the first and the second movie, and then through the Avengers and whatnot. All the little things to kind of like get him up to speed to be like, this is what modern day is like, right? And he's kind of, he learns a little bit of humor and whatnot. And like, I thought he turned into a real interesting character, right? It was a little awkward in the first movie. I thought like the tone was kind of all over the place, but I thought it was great.
He's become more of a comic relief. I don't know how much I like that so much. I thought I'm
about that because he can still also like kick butt at the end of the day.
He was too much of comic relief. I kind of wanted him to be a little bit more serious, but either way, it was okay. Listen, I liked it. I like Ragnarok. I thought it was great. So the movie ends, and everyone's waiting for the traditional, secret scene at the end of the credits.
I mean, they said that's it. There's going to be nothing after it,
and. Only thing you get is the Marvel logo with the pounding, which is the same pounding of Iron Man 1 when he was first making the Iron Man suit when he was trapped in the mountains.
Yeah. Back from the first, he was in I want to say Iraq or Iran or one of those like Middle Eastern countries.
It was in Pakistan, but
maybe it was Pakistan. Yeah, he was trying to sell missiles to the rebels and whatnot. Ends up getting captured. So we actually. We ended up walking out of that movie, and we didn't actually stay for the end because we were like, oh, there's nothing left at the end. But there was that little bit, which you were telling me about. I'm like, oh, it was
a good nod. It was a good nod.
Super neat. Yeah. It's all like the little things in the movie that kind of like add up. So
I thought it was a great movie. I know that and we're gonna get a Black Widow. We're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Black Panther 2 is slated to go in production. The next movie up is the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out.
Spider-Man Far From
a
Home
month.
will be out
It's
in
coming
a
up.
month or so. Yeah.
I need to see Homecoming. That's the only one I haven't seen. I need
You
to go
haven't
see
seen
Homecoming?
Homecoming?
I still haven't seen Homecoming.
Dude,
I still haven't seen it.
so good. It's so good. It's got Batman. It's got Michael Keaton as the villain. It's great.
So we need to see what Phase 4 will be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inhumans didn't work, but they have more. But now they have mutants back, and how, with the snap and different timelines and universes, this could be a way for them to introduce the Marvel characters. I mean, not Marvel, the X-Men characters.
Oh, of course, they're gonna get roped in. I think now is the time, right?
And remember,
they have some new movies lined up, but I think from here on out, like after these movies that are pretty much like in the can, ready to go, so like Spider-Man is going to be like good. I think maybe the Disney series, they'll kind of be their own thing. Now, since they've inked the deal, they own the movie rights from all the Fox stuff. They have the X-Men characters, right? I think now we're going to start to see like at the end of the movie, it's like, oh hey, here's a shot of Wolverine or the new Wolverine. Here's a shot of Iceman or whatever it is.
I don't think we're going to see them anytime soon because Dark Phoenix is coming out over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the last of the Marvel X-Men. I mean, the Fox X-Men.
Of the Fox X-Men stuff, right? And
Marvel.
then they're going to like. So there's probably going to be some character changes.
It's going to be some. It's probably going to be some time before we see any change. It's going to be some time before we see any change to them. But this would be a great opportunity to sort of give a reason how they introduced them, right? Like because of the snap and they screwed up everything. Maybe everyone came back.
It would make sense, it gives you basically carte blanche almost to be like, this is how it is now.
Some people came back and
that makes sense.
Some people came back and have mutant powers.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And the TV shows, the Netflix TV shows are canceled, so they will not reference anything. I think we still have Jessica Jones season 3 coming out, but other than that, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna reference anything from people disappearing.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It had a good run. It had a good run, but that's that part of, because I guess that was also in the MCU technically.
That started after the first Avengers.
Yeah, that like chapter is coming to a close. So the one thing I'll say about the movie, obviously it was amazing. Everyone should go see it if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, why are you listening to this episode? Like we've just spoiled the whole entire movie for you. But it was 3 hours. I never once yawned or felt like, oh my God, come on, let's keep going. Even when they were doing like the exposition, they were building up like the plot and the reason and the going back in time and all that stuff. I'm like, I'm in on all of this. This is fantastic, right?
I gotta agree with you.
There was really just the one big battle at the end, right? That was the real big set piece. There was some
agree with you.
There was some there was some small little bits, when you saw like Hawkeye kind of doing his thing and killing some people. There was a little bit of that when they went to go kill Thanos in the beginning of the movie. There was a little bit of that, but there was really the big set piece at the end. It was all like building up to that. All right, super cool. Like just my God,
I never once looked at my watch.
Right?
To say, oh my God, what time is it?
And it's great. It's great.
And I'm sure we've missed a whole bunch of stuff. But I think we did a good job of covering all the big stuff and some of the small things I had a problem with.
Yeah.
Overall,
you had more nitpicky stuff, but I guess I would have too if I realized like, oh yeah, this doesn't line up with this, or this was different than how they did it in the comics. I didn't necessarily have the context like right in the front, the forefront. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm along for the ride. It's like, oh, you want to do time travel? I'm in for the ride, right? You're going to explain it this way? Sure, I'm in.
So here's my last question to you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanos is dead.
Yep.
Who is the next big bad guy?
It's gonna be Galactus.
I want to disagree with you. I mean, listen, if it is Galactus,
I don't know if you can.
I can. It could be Doctor Doom. He's the most famous bad guy in Marvel history anyway. He's back in the fold.
He has all that baggage from the horrible Fantastic Four movies. All 3 of them,
Listen, if Chris Evans can come back from being the Human Torch to being Captain America,
Johnny Storm, How funny is that?
I think they can reintroduce Doctor Doom.
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so.
I'm not saying the Fantastic Four should be in it.
Well, I mean, they could, as long as it's under the guidance of Kevin Feige, because he knows what he's doing, right? Let him pull the strings and put all that together. Then it'll be fine, right? You can bring Doctor Doom back and like just erase all the stuff from the mid 2000s and whatever is that's all gone. It's a brand new Doctor Doom.
It can be both. The Galactus could be sort of like the big arching villain.
Because Galactus is huge, right? Like that guy's a beast.
He eats worlds, right?
Yeah, he's the eater of worlds.
Now you can introduce the Silver Surfer into the MCU at some point, right?
Sure.
And
I mean, you know, that means you would have to have a new Fantastic Four movie.
No. Or listen. We talked about Captain Marvel and her being Superman. Mm-hmm. What better way than to have Galactus as the bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. Like he eats worlds, so you know how they would be
like they'd be a good power match, right? They'd be a good power match.
So it's safe to. I'm looking forward to seeing. Now I've never been so excited since the first Avengers movie because I want to see how. I have no idea where they're gonna go.
Right.
So I'm super excited.
They got a lot of options, you know. There's a lot of comic lore that they haven't even like scratched the surface of. So, yeah. So I think Dan, I think we're done with this Avengers spoiler cast. We've kind of covered it all. You know, if you've seen it, and I'm sure you've seen it, see it again, see it a third time. It definitely deserves your money. You know, we're definitely going to go back and see this movie again because you have to. It's like 10 years culminating on this one big epic 3-hour extravaganza, and it was the greatest. So happy to have this in our lifetime. You know, so happy that we were both able to see it, and you know, we're gonna do it all again real soon. So that's episode 164 in the books. If you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.